What's going on, guys? About a week ago I tweeted out Laine-Dubois, who says no, and a week later the trade's actually happening. There's a bit more to it. Winnipeg's trading Patrik Laine along with Jack Roslovic to the Columbus Blue Jackets for Pierre-Luc Dubois, as well as a third-round pick in the 2022 draft. So essentially the trade is Laine for Dubois. Pretty crazy. You have an all-star for an all-star. You also have the second overall pick in 2016 for the third overall pick in 2016. So Leafs fans, I think you definitely made the right choice taking Matthews first overall, if that wasn't already obvious. So next we're going to see whether or not this trade would go down in NHL 21. A few days ago I actually made a video seeing what it would cost every single team to trade for Pierre-Luc Dubois. And I remember Laine for Dubois 1-for-1 didn't go through, but with the extra pieces this might go through. So Laine here, the second most valuable player on the Winnipeg Jets. 22 years old, 87 overall, making $6.6 million there for one more year. Now he's going to be an RFA, but you gotta hope he likes it in Columbus. Otherwise, he could just say, you know, trade me, sign an offer sheet with some team. You never really know. But as you can see, roll their first line forward, immediately potential. He's a stud. Obviously, that shot on him. I'm a big believer that kind of Laine is the closest thing we'll have to Ovechkin once Ovechkin retires. Just that, you know, one-timer from the slot. He's got a cannon. Just a pure scorer. I'll give you guys a look at his stats here. You can see last year he had 63 points in 68 games, which is a pretty solid season. Year before that, 50 points, which still isn't too bad. His worst year is a 50-point season. The year before that, 70 points with 44 goals, absolutely ridiculous. And his rookie season, he had 64 points with 36 goals. So again, a very, very good player, pure sniper, but he can also obviously make some plays too. I don't know about this one, guys. Like, I personally thought that kind of Laine had a bit more value than Dubois, so Columbus would be the team having to add a bit, but the way the trade broke down, it seems like Winnipeg was actually adding, which is very, very interesting. So, of course, on top of Laine, they're also giving up Jack Roslovic, who in-game somehow is not on the block. So EA messed up here and actually still has him signed to $900K for one more year, but really this contract ended last season. But after the trade to Columbus, he actually signed a new contract. 2-year deal making $1.83 million. So a pretty solid contract for him. Personally, I see Roslovic's potential as like a low-end second-line forward, high-end third-line forward, but right now he's probably still like a bomb six guy. Of course, he's young, he's 23, maybe under Tortorella, you know, he'll play well and kind of grow on Columbus. But if you look at the trade as like 1-for-1 Laine-Dubois and then 1-for-1 a third for Roslovic, I personally think Laine has more value than Dubois, and a Roslovic for a third, it's about fair. I think, you know, a second might be a bit too much. A third might be not quite enough. So yeah, a second or a third for Roslovic does make sense. But Columbus, Dubois, you can see is the most valuable player on their team. In the game, in real life, it's definitely Rowinski or Jones. But already covered this. Dubois, 22 years old, 86 overall, $5 million for the next 2 years. So he's actually under contract for another season. Not the case for Laine. So I think Columbus is definitely going to have to pay him. He's going to want to raise on that $6 million contract. Now you can see Dubois is 86 overall, so one below Laine. Roll their second line forward. Laine was a first line forward, power forward, obviously more of an offensive guy. So his stats here, rookie season, 48 points, 82 games, and he had 61, 82. Last year, 49 and 70. Again, Laine definitely scores more, but center is the more important position. So because of that, maybe they kind of saw it as a wash in terms of the trade value. And then, of course, Columbus also gives up a third-round pick in 2022. Again, about decent value for Roslovic. Like I said, I think a second might have been a bit too much. So maybe like a third and a fifth would have been perfect value. So looking at this trade, looks like Winnipeg has a more value. Now, like I mentioned, not only do I think Laine has a bit more value than Dubois and Roslovic a bit more value than a third, but then on top of all of that, Winnipeg also retains salary on Laine. Of course, it's only for like the next 4 months, as like I said, he's going to need a new contract, and then, of course, the season will be over, but still, they retain 27% of his salary, which is $1.775 million, basically meaning he's going to get paid $5 million-ish, so the same as Dubois. But again, I feel like Winnipeg just shouldn't have had to do that. But one thing I did see, actually, Darren Dreger tweeted, 20-plus teams were in on Dubois, which is pretty insane. So maybe just Winnipeg didn't have as many people trying to trade for Laine. He also said Roslovic was just not going to play in Winnipeg. So like when I did tweet that out, I really thought, you know, Roslovic would definitely be included in the deal, but I thought if that was the case, Columbus would be giving up, you know, a second rounder plus like another player maybe to make that happen, but not the case. So I think Columbus makes out really good here in real life. Winnipeg's still not too bad since Laine did want to be traded. Roslovic also wanted to be traded. It's kind of interesting idea. You have 2 stars, both wanting to be traded, get traded to the other team. I saw someone say how like Columbus is essentially the Manitoba of America, Winnipeg is the Ohio of Canada, but I'm not sure if Laine really cared that much about the location. I think it was more just how he was being used on the team. He was a second-line player, didn't really get to play with Scheifele or Wheeler for that matter on the first line. Dubois, really no one knows what the trade reason was. I don't think it was Tortorella. A lot of people are saying that, especially with him being benched recently. I just think that's a coincidence. It does have to be with, him playing in a small market. Winnipeg's a small market, but they're definitely more hockey crazed than Columbus. I feel like I've done enough talking. Next year we'll see this trade actually goes through. Again, Winnipeg has more value there. They do want both things, but I don't see this happening. And yeah, trade's rejected, which like I said, in real life, I think Winnipeg definitely gave up more here. Now for the trade, guys, just an update look at the Blue Jackets lines might look like when they're healthy. So first line there, you got Foligno playing with Domi and Laine. Second line's Bjorkstrand, Texier, Nyquist. Then you got Jenner, Roslovic, and Axton on the third line. Grigorenko, Koivu, Dubinsky on the fourth line. So obviously, losing Dubois, you lose a bit of center depth. Domi's not your first line center. Can Domi be a first line center? Maybe. I think one season he was putting up, first line numbers. I mean, playing with Laine definitely could make him a first line center. It's interesting to see if those guys can have some chemistry. I know a lot of people are kind of saying Laine is going to Columbus after complaining about not having the talent to play with in Winnipeg, but he didn't really play with Scheifele much. His centerman was usually Brian Little or Paul Stastny, and I feel like Domi's just as good as those two guys, if not a bit better. So this could prove to be a better situation for Laine. We'll kind of have to wait and see here. Also, too, I want to show you guys what Laine looks like as a Columbus Blue Jacket. Is going to look weird. I mean, it's the same colors, which is one thing I thought was kind of cool. Obviously, Winnipeg, Columbus are both blue, white, and red, so, maybe both guys will kind of look normal here in their new jerseys. So let's see, Patrik Laine, Columbus Blue Jacket. Yeah, like that doesn't look too bad. I think it is because it's the same colors basically. So there you go. First look at Laine as a Blue Jacket. Now next year we're going to try the trade from Winnipeg's perspective. See what happens. So looking at this trade from Winnipeg's perspective, you can see Columbus has their third round pick on the block, but they're somehow not interested in Laine or Roslovic, which I don't know how that's the case. Also, one thing I forgot to mention before that I found very interesting, another reason why I don't know how Winnipeg ended up being the team I feel is giving up more in this trade, is if you looked at kind of how each player's career ended with their team. Laine scored an OT game winner for the Jets against the Flames, and that was his third point of the night. Dubois was benched for 90% of his last game. He played 4 minutes in the first period, then never saw the ice again. I just thought that was really interesting, as their final games were the complete opposite of each other, but regardless, like I was saying, I'm going to try this trade out from the Jets. Don't think I mentioned before, but I had the difficulty set to medium, as that's the default. Usually would have it set to for these videos. The Jets have more value. Let's see what the Blue Jackets say. Trade's rejected. You're quite far off, so that's really interesting. Like I mentioned, I think the Blue Jackets win this trade, not in a crazy way, but I do, give them the edge. So to see them reject this is very interesting. I guess that means in EA's mind, this is a fair trade when both teams reject it. Now, in my mind, obviously I said how I do think, the Jets gave up a bit more, which is why Columbus wins this trade. I only think they win this trade right now. I think the true winner of this trade is whichever team can hold on to their star player the longest. For instance, if Laine only plays 2-3 more years for Columbus and then leaves in UFA, while Dubois plays 7 to 8 years for Winnipeg before leaving, I would give the win to Winnipeg simply because, they held on to him longer. So, like I said, I think that's really going to be the case. Now, Winnipeg's got a much more promising future, so I think their chances of holding on to Dubois is better. Although, like I mentioned before, we really don't know why Dubois wanted out of Columbus, so I think Winnipeg's going to have to find that out to make sure the same thing doesn't happen and cause him to leave Winnipeg, whereas Laine, we know, wanted out of Winnipeg because he wasn't getting enough play time, didn't feel like he was the guy. In Columbus, he's going to be the guy, so that's a good look for Columbus. Hopefully, he wants to stay there long term. And next, you guys will take a look at what the Jets lines might look like when they're healthy. So we got Kyle Connor, Scheifele, Wheeler still has that first line. It's a sick first line. We now have Ehlers with Dubois and Stastny on the second line. That second line left wing spot's a real mystery. Once Dubois is done his quarantine, is he going to play the center spot and Stastny move to the wing? Will Stastny be in the middle, Dubois move to the wing? Will they have someone else come up to that line with, say, Stastny as the third line center? I feel like Stastny was already on that second line playing with Ehlers. Hopefully, they have decent chemistry. Why break that up? Just add Dubois to the line. I think if you looked at Olympic teams in the past, it's a lot easier for a centerman to move to the wing than a wing to the move to center. I think you'd much rather have too many centers than not enough. Canada, for instance, had Bergeron playing first line left wing with Crosby. Worked out just fine, but if Russia tried playing Ovechkin first line center, I don't think, that worked out too good. So definitely, rather have too many centers. So Winnipeg has a lot of options here. We got Kopp, Lowry, Appleton on the third line. Vesalainen, Lewis, and Perreault on the fourth line. So one thing I was thinking they could do is move Stastny that third line center spot, but then Lowry I feel is just too good of a centerman to have on the fourth line, but maybe you do that, and then you kind of have a rotating spot between, say, Kopp, Appleton, Vesalainen, basically just want one of your younger guys to kind of earn that second line left wing role. Also, too, I don't think Brian Little's playing this year, but once he is back and healthy, I mean, you could potentially have Scheifele, Dubois, Stastny, Little, Lowry, 5 different centermen to choose from. Winnipeg definitely has more than enough center depth now, and like I said, just going to give them a ton of options there when everyone is healthy, and when they're not, obviously, you have guys you can plug in. So I think they're looking good in that retrospect. Now next we're going to take a look at Dubois on the Jets. I mentioned I thought Laine looks, not too out of place. And Dubois here, that doesn't look anything like Dubois. So it's hard to say. But we'll just look at the jersey. Looking at the jersey, it doesn't look, too bad. Again, I think it's because it is similar colors, but yeah, that game face there. They need to get a real game face for Dubois. That's kind of rough. But that's me, guys, for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, leave that thumbs up. In the comment section below, guys, let me know which team you think won the trade. Seemed to be a little bit mixed on Twitter, but I think definitely more people felt like Columbus won it. Also, guys, half of you watching this video have not subscribed to the channel yet. Make sure you hit that sub button for more videos. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.